Suddenly that weird dream that I had about Sam from Pixiwoo a couple of weeks ago is starting to make more sense. Hey guys. So, no more than a week ago on Pixiwoo's channel, Sam Chapman had uploaded a video talking about her anxiety and how it affects her. This video surprised me for two reasons. One, I would not have pegged her as someone who had any kind of anxiety problems at all, and not that we know each other. And two, I guess, I don't know what the right word is, impressed. This has been a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a couple years, but I have been, I guess I would say, too nervous about putting it out there. And so I was impressed and applauding, I suppose is the best way to say, her, the candidness with which she spoke about this and her willingness to be open about it. I know from experience, someone who has anxiety problems, that one of the worst things that goes along with it is that feeling of isolation, that no one understands you, that no one knows what you're going through, and you're doing this all alone. When you hear that someone else has these problems, sometimes that connecting with other people, that knowing that, oh my God, they used to freak out about the same silly stuff that I do or still do. This can be very, very, very comforting, and it can really, really help with recovery. So I thought I would do a video today sharing with you my experience with anxiety. I am someone who has at times suffered from what I would call severe anxiety, panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and agoraphobia. There was actually a point in my life where I could not leave the house, where I was stuck inside and just afraid. It's actually the reason why, for a long time, I have dodged the question of how old are you? Because I spent a considerable amount of time stuck behind doors in kind of a prison in a way. I felt like I had lost those years, and I was angry about it, and I wanted that time back. And so when I was, however old I was when it started, and I couldn't leave, and then years go by and I'm able to get out of the house more and I'm able to do things, I felt like I was, how do you say this? In my life plan, I was back here. I was like 25 years old instead of 37. And so it was very embarrassing for me to say, oh my God, I don't feel like I'm this old. I don't think that I should be this old, because I feel like this time was taken away from me. Now, it wasn't. I learned a lot. I did a lot. It's actually why I play music, believe it or not. When I had lost my job because I couldn't go to work. And I told myself, if I'm going to be stuck at the house, I'm going to learn a language or I'm going to learn an instrument. So with the last amount of my money in my savings account, I went and I bought myself a piano. And I learned how to play. That part of it is not something that I regret. I guess you could say that I don't know if I regret. It's hard to say that I don't regret any of it, because I do wish that I had that time back. But at the same time, I think that I used it. I think that I used it well, and life is an experience. Back to the beginning. So what's anxiety? Anxiety is that people who suffer with anxiety, myself in particular, I've always been kind of nervous, I suppose. As a kid, I was very, very nervous. I would get anxious very easily, and I didn't know what it was. I had problems in high school. I had so many times when I thought, just in general, life is like, oh my God, it's too big, and I would start to freak out. I couldn't breathe. I would feel this weight on my chest. I was afraid. I felt like you took me, stuck me in a box, and buried me in the ground, and I couldn't get out. Just this sense of overwhelming fear and panic, and I've got to get out. I've got to run. Oh my God, what's going on? I didn't know that that was anxiety. I didn't know that those were panic attacks. Sometime around, I'm going to say, I think this was like 1999 or so, maybe a little before, I had all at once in the same month ended a relationship that I was in for 5 years. I quit the only job that I'd had ever to start a new relationship with someone else and a business with someone else. And all of this happened at once, and my body just went, "What are you? What?" And the anxiety, the panic attacks, everything started to come back. I was sort of nervous all the time. There was a lot of change going on. What ended up happening, I remember driving on the freeway and having this like, oh my God, I'm trapped, this moment of just panic. What happens when you have this a panic attack, this fear, adrenaline, all these different chemicals start pumping through your body because your body is responding as if you are on a plane careening towards the earth and you're going to die. Everything in your body is telling yourself this is what's going to happen. That's what a panic attack is. Your brain, I should say, your body's responding that way. Your brain is trying to figure out, where's the man with the axe? Where's the tiger that's going to eat me? Where's the plane that I'm in that's crashing towards the planet? It can't find it. So it does the next logical thing, and it finds the situation to be a threat. So you're on the freeway, you have a panic attack. Everything in your body is saying you're going to die and burst into flames. Your brain says, oh, it must be the freeway. So next time you're on that stretch of freeway, it becomes a trigger, and those anxious feelings will start to bubble up. So eventually, maybe you think to yourself, okay, well, I'm just not going to go on the freeway anymore. I won't go to that. I'll just get off and I'll take the next road. Well, that panic is going to come back unless you've dealt with whatever it is that's causing it. So eventually it happens not on the freeway. Now it's at stoplights. Okay, so you try and avoid stoplights. Well, then it's in lines at the grocery store or at a fast food place. So you avoid that. And eventually you keep avoiding so much to try and get rid of these panic attacks that are happening, because trust me, they are scary as hell, that you're stuck in the house. At least that was my experience. And it became my only safe place, and I couldn't leave. Unfortunately, it also wasn't safe because I couldn't get away from the panic. I couldn't get away from the anxiety that I was having. It was still happening. Back then, I didn't understand what it was. I'll be frank. I had stomach problems all the time because I was so nervous. So I had diarrhea a lot. I could not eat because I was so anxious. I went down to I'm 6 feet tall, and I went down to about 108 pounds, which is skinny. And I remember sitting in the driveway in my car thinking how hungry I was, but I couldn't leave because I was too scared. And that's really, really hard. Eventually, through therapy and hard work, it started to get better. And now everybody's recovery is going to be very different. Everybody's anxiety is different. There was so much that was a trigger for me. I couldn't get my hair cut. I cut my own hair for years because I had this fear that what if I'm sitting there and I'm getting my hair cut and I have a panic attack and then I leave and I've got half my head cut. I couldn't go try on clothes in a clothing store because I thought, what if I've got all my clothes off and then I have a panic attack and I have to run out of the dressing room in my underwear? That's going to be so embarrassing. The funny thing about anxiety is that one of the biggest fears that people have is, what if? What if I have a panic attack here? And it's always about, what if people know? What if people see? What if people can tell? And the funny thing is, those of us who have panic attacks and anxiety, we are so good at hiding it that no one usually knows. So I don't know if that's what I've got to say. I will say what helped for a lot of people, knowing that it's real, really actually does help. It's not fake. And some people won't understand this, and that's okay. Let that go. But anxiety, what a panic attack is like, it's like if I pull the fire alarm in a building, the ambulance and the firemen and the sprinklers might go off. All these things are going to happen. as if there was a fire, but there's no fire. But it still happens as if there was. So when you're having a panic attack, that feeling of fear of, oh my God, I'm going to die, that's real. Don't let anyone tell you that that's not real. It absolutely is. The danger isn't real. So for some people, just knowing that this is real, this is actually happening in my body, you give yourself permission to feel weird. Absolutely. Please do this. When it happens, when you start to get nervous, give yourself permission to say, oh my God, I understand. Oh, totally. This is fine. It's okay that I feel weird. If you can, try and figure out why. What's going on that's making you feel weird? Did you maybe get not enough sleep? Did you have too much coffee? Did you have too much sugar? Are you coming down with a cold? What is it that's making you feel a little weird? If you can. The other thing that's really important that I find for me helped was also then laughing about it. Humor really does help to dissolve the tension in a situation. And if I can say, laugh with it and say, of course I'm goofy, who cares, whatever, and I'm never going to see these people again in my life, so screw them all. It doesn't matter. Just let it go is the best thing. And it's incredibly hard to do. Don't get mad at yourself when you're not an expert at it. I'm not either. Everybody has a different way of recovering, as I said. Okay. Eek. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I imagine this was long as hell. And if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please leave them in the comment section. You can always find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Links are always in the description of the video. Sam, thanks. That was really cool. And I'll see you guys soon. Okay? Take care. I love you and drive safe.